Boom. Welcome everyone, mate talk time. Good to be before you all. Hopefully you have an awesome drink with the World Cup on. You know what this is. This is my mate. Argentina's doing very well, by the way, but like we expect them to. I'm just gonna put it out there. It's not arrogance. It's not arrogance. It's never arrogance if it's true. I mean, that's my stance on that situation. Awesome to talk today on citruses, and I look forward to sharing more about that. But before we begin, announcements that will happen at the end. There will be a member spin, and there'll be two winners. I'll tell you more. There is going to be a Discord town square meeting this coming Saturday, but I'll give you all the times around the world and all the rest of it. And then the last part is that there is a Penhaligons promo coming up, also starting on this Sunday, sorry. Behind me, you'll see a whole bunch of Penhaligons. They're slightly out of focus, but I'll take a photo. I'll put it on Insta so you can see some of the upcoming conversation that'll happen with that. And you have the chance to win a full bottle of either Bold Blend or, oh, the audacity. Now, today is a miserable day out here. It's been raining all day long. It is cold here in Australia. The last few days have been quite, we're in the middle of winter. And Sandra asked me, so what are you going to do about, what's Mateto going to be about? Citrus. And she's like, that's not a good idea because it's too cold. No, wrong. So citrus, in my opinion, I have said this a number of times, have a look at all my past episodes on all things citrus, is the perfect fragrance note, whether it's a horrible day like today and I'm covered in citrus fragrances and it's working so well, or if you're in the middle of summer, it also works really well. So you get for me, a citrus fragrance is an all year round experience, and certain citruses accentuate better in heat or in cold. And today, what I'm gonna do is go into some citruses that work really well in that just really stinking hot weather. And I hear that both US and Europe are having some heat waves going on, so you're gonna love these. And here in Australia, being that it's cold and miserable and very ordinary, a citrus fragrance does bring sunshine. It reminds you of beautiful days. All right, so let me begin. I did that pretty well. It would be remiss of me if I don't put forward within the citrus collection, Perris Monte Carlo and their Italian collection. What I love about the Italian, so any of the citruses from the Italian collection is a win. All right, so I've got them all. I have spoken about them in multiple or in past episodes. Here's another episode that I created. The reason why I selected this one here, not because it stood out the most, is because Luca Maffei created this, and I want to go and give you a bit of a backstory here. So this is Cedro di Diamante. There's a few actually elements in here. One, di Diamante is an area that is in Calabria, and in particular Cosenza. And now my wife, she is from that region. So we stay, when we visit the family, we stay in Cosenza. They're all Calabrians. Don't mess with the Calabrians. It's just a recipe for disaster. But there's some really great citruses that come out from that particular region. Here, Luca Maffei, working with Gianluca Perris, created this particular fragrance, and it's this vibrant, energetic, electric, lemon-style fragrance. It bursts with so much happiness. It bursts out with, it's invigorating. It's sunshine. It's all the things that actually, even on a miserable day like today, it just brings in all these elements. The other reason I wanted to bring this forward is that this was the fragrance that when I went to visit Luca years ago at his atelier, the AFM. This is a fragrance that he put forward, and I just need to show this part here. Let me just look at this part of the video.
Say, Luca,
I love it.
give me
Ready to go.
1 ton. No, I hope.
Actually, what is a good order? 1 ton, obviously.
Sometimes happen, but the minimum quantity is 5 kilo.
How many bottles can be translated from those 5 kilos?
100 ml at 20%, 300.
In case I want to make a bottle.
Okay.
A specific collection.
Okay. At the end, we can discuss about it.
Yeah. We'll talk.
It's like I did a line in the sand. It's like it was all in the moment. You know, one day, you know, my people will talk to your people, and in the end, we talked with his people and my people. So Luca Maffei was actually responsible for the 3 fragrances that we created as part of Olfactive Traveler, if you're not aware. So a celebration of Milan, Florence, and Rome. And he's the creator of that. I do want to point out, because Luca loves all things, did you see that? Luca loves all things Italian, the celebration of Italian ingredients, the bringing back the old way of doing things, like the spugna when it comes to bergamot and stuff like that, that maybe there's another creation coming through. And all I'm going to do is this. I'm just going to tease you with this. So I won't show you. So there's a new OT coming out. And there's something pretty exciting. That's the back of it. I won't show you the front, because the front is just gloriously beautiful. The artwork that was created for that is actually, here's the early sketches. And it's a massive celebration of the citruses from Italy. It's a bit of a tease, but I just wanted it's wonderful, this connection, how it all sort of dovetailed when it comes to first meeting Luca, him telling me all about beautiful citruses, then the celebration of Italy and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, it's just a wonderful full circle. Now, when it comes to Cedro di Diamante, as I mentioned, think of getting a lemon, and on the opening, you're getting almost like the equal part of the juice sort of bursting out, the peel. So if you were to, you know, like score the actual peel and those oils that emerge from that, and then the leaf. So grab the leaf of a lemon tree, and if you crush that, you get that green, lemony sort of vibrant. So when you spray, that opening of the fragrance is literally all these 3. You're getting the juiciness of the lemon or the cedro, you're getting that beautiful, the scratched skin, and then you're getting the leafy element of it. It's, as I said, it's a sunshine, it's an explosion of happiness and joy and vibrance. It's invigorating, it's uplifting. When it does begin to dry down, I've had it here so just, you know, I'm gonna say it once, all fragrances on my arm, about an hour and a half now. So they've had a good chance to dry down. And on the dry down, you're now getting this peppery, almost dry vetiver, not green, not earthy, just the more greenness of it, almost like the petitgrain of the leaf, and then the dryness of the vetiver, along with that peppery, black peppery sort of effect. You still get the lemon though, so with the lemon sort of just overlaying the whole thing. One thing I do love about all things Paris Monte Carlo is that respecting of that central note. In this case here, it's a celebration of Cedro from this particular area. And then it's about all the notes are built to amplify that, to celebrate that, as opposed to now crowd it with all these other things that sort of take it into a different direction. It is a classic citrus fragrance, and so is the Italian collection, meaning that you're not going to get, 24 hours on these fragrances, but you'll get a comfortable 5 to 6 hours. It really is about celebrating in, happiness. It does mean you have to respray again, not a big deal. I find that in summer, obviously, as you sweat, and especially if you spray on skin, it does accelerate a lot more than now in cooler weather. As I said, an hour and a half, it's been sort of suppressed in relation to the other fragrances that I have on me, there are some that have a bit more bolder. But if I'm just wearing this alone, by about the 5-6 hour mark, I really need to refresh it on a cool day. On a warm day, it'll burst forward as I begin to sweat and heat up. So that one there, boom. The next one that I want to put forward to you that I'm also a big fan of is, big fan of the house, is All Things Obvious. So this is now a French house. The creator of this is a super talented man, David Frossard. I've always called him the perfume whisperer. He's the one that has been integral in the growth of things like Byredo and Frappin, Juliet Has a Gun, and the list goes on. He actually has a knack for understanding how to bring to life a concept. Here, what he wanted to do was pare back. So everyone's gone bougie bottles and, bigger caps and, more extravagant. And what he thought is, the crowd is going in this direction. I actually want to go in a different direction and pare things back and put emphasis on the actual juice itself. You know, the other advantage is that the pricing on these guys, I think, are fairly well. I think here in Australia is about $2.99 for Obvious. This is a new inclusion for me. I love all things orange blossom. Have a look at these productions that I've done. I have said that many times that orange blossom is the scent that actually comes through the pearly gates as you're walking up to them. You're getting this beautiful orange blossom, breezy, sort of creamy and floral aspect to it. And here, the fragrance is pretty much embraced that element of it. I love that it starts off with the creamy, floral, orange, almost a little bit musky in its sort of profile as it opens up. It's almost succulent. It invites you in. It caresses you with a beautiful breezy sort of scent profile that it has. And then as it dries down, it then goes more into neroli. There's a great fragrance by Matière Première also respecting the note, but it starts off very neroli. It does have that very sharp, crisp, sort of clean linen, bright sunshine sort of element to that fragrance. Whereas here, it does come in a lot more creamier, a lot more succulent, a lot more orange, a lot more caressing, and then, as I said, dries back down to the more neroli aspect of the fragrance. Let me see, where have I got it? Nope. I'll tell you about that one. That one's a monster. So here I'm now in that neroli phase. It's never in the crisp sort of clean linen sort of element of it, or a crisp white shirt. You know, whenever I think of neroli, I think of that sort of very crisp white shirt. You know, like very officious, very, you know, alert and strong. And whereas here, I'm still getting the aspects of the orange blossom floral pieces, a little bit with that orange in there. The perfumes behind this are the gorgeous Fleur girls. They're super talented, and I believe that this one here was a bit of a tag team between Anne-Sophie and Amélie, and they've been able to create this beautiful balance. Actually, on one of our fragrance tours in 2024, we actually met with the two wonderful ladies, and they did talk about that they almost like they're a right brain, left brain kind of relationship, where one can think more abstract whilst the other is a little bit more grounded, but the two of them really sort of come together in bringing concepts to life. Un fleur d'orange is the name, une fleur d'orange is the name of this fragrance, and I would highly recommend it to you. It's gorgeous. It has a little bit more bones, a lot more sort of longevity when it comes to its presence on skin. A little bit more than Cedro di Diamante. This one here is really the perfect cool weather fragrance. So on a cold day like today, I actually bought it for this kind of, us coming into this wintry sort of phase. It does bring that level of sunshine. It reminds you of warmer days, but there's no reason why this won't work beautifully in warmer weather too. I've discovered that, so I haven't worn it in warm weather, but I have over this wintry or cooler, I'm getting about 5 to 6 hours, probably 6 to 7 actually, 6 to 7. It does stay on skin fairly well. It starts off a little bit strong, but then it does pair itself back to a really beautiful, comfortable office scent, something that you can take on an everyday experience. Boom. All right, next one. This is one that I smelled here. So this is a fragrance, and I'm so happy that I was the one that kept banging on about this, because when Essence was on, I saw a lot of other influencers going to this particular outlet, and that is Fueguia. When I first started talking about Fueguia, people were like, you know, why are you wasting time? Actually, there were some people who were like dissing the brand. I like this brand. I think the brand is good. It is expensive, a little bit more than, I guess, your average fragrance. I find the fragrances are super complex. They're quite diverse. They have a big, big collection, massive collection. One thing that I've noticed that Fueguia does, so the perfumer is an Argentinian, Julian Babel, and he likes to extract raw notes from unusual locations, in particular Patagonia. In this case here, one last part of that is that he always lists 3 notes. So 3 notes that are in the fragrance. Initially, I thought there were only 3 notes that were being used. maybe that is the case, but I think that's not the case because I'm always getting so much more to the fragrance. There's a lot more things that are emerging, and I think that what Julian did early on was again push people away from forget about this, like the top note is all these things, and then base is this, and then the heart are all these. He's just saying these are the three sort of, if you want to know notes, these are the three notes that you should be aware of. But don't stress too much about, it's not a science project. Just enjoy the fragrance for what it's trying to tell you. Here, so this is Humboldt, and it is a very early love for me, and it's vibrant and electric and energetic and like, the emoji of the lightning strike. There is this zing when this fragrance comes into the world as you spray, and there's a zing every time that you come across it. There are two fragrances on me that are constantly popping today. They're just like I had lunch just before, and as I'm eating, both of these fragrances are trying to sort of take center stage for dominance. So Humboldt is one of those. Three core notes that it professes to have is bergamot, a passion fruit, and then a tangerine. Now, yes, whilst those are there, I'm also getting like a black peppery sort of spiciness coming through. I'm also getting like a dry vetiver woodiness coming through. I'm getting this earthy element also sort of coming into play. And then that passion fruit note is tangy and sour and summertime, and like juices are flowing down your chin. It's super vibrant. And in a summer landscape, actually I just got the sourness, like a grapefruit sourness. In a summer landscape, this fragrance is just, I strongly, strongly recommend. So I have recommended Humboldt to many, many people. It's one that I just, in a summertime, I just love wearing. It is energetic. It does have a lot of push to it. So 8 hours without a problem, as I mentioned. When it comes to its presence and its, wanting to be present in the air, it has a comfortable, moderate, if not a little bit more, has a nice push on it. It lingers forever. It's just a really good fragrance. So for those who are like, well, I don't like Fueguia for blah, blah, check out Humboldt. It may change your mind when it comes to the actual collection. This one here is a fantastic citrus for summer that will have great bones. I don't think it's so good in this cool environment. I find that it's a little bit too tangy, too zingy. I just think it's a little bit, it has too much electricity for like a cool weather, but for summertime, it's fantastic. I actually wrote here 8 hours. I don't know what I said before, but it has incredible longevity. Boom. All right. Today, I promised myself that it was going to be a short Monte talk. I've got work up to here, up to there. And I just want to make sure that we can just move through all this stuff. So I am trying to sort of keep moving forward, but also let you know clearly some great fragrances. Another one that I adore is Scorzaforza. This is now Bois 1920. Can you see how hard this has been hit? But boom, I'm going to stay still because I love when Hannah does these close-ups. So this is a big bottle. I've got a generous collection of fragrances, and yet this fragrance, has been hit that hard. The reason for that is, one, I adore it, but two, my office people adore it. 3, Sandra loves wearing it. And 4, my son Nelson, this is almost, I have to rip it out of his hands to bring it back into the office. So as a summer fragrance, this is glorious. This is a must stop. What I like about this is that it has so the citrus note here is now a mandarin. So it has this juicy, sugary, vibrant mandarin note when it opens. It then moves on to like a petitgrain, green. Again, there's a vibrance to that. And then finally, it adds this, then it adds this mint note. So it has a beautiful herbal mint element, but that portion of it is not sugary or bright or sweet. And whenever I think of mint, I think of Torino 21 and that sort of mojito, very electric and alive. I love that electric is my word for today. Should have a drinking game every time I say electric. The mint is more herbal-like. So you find that you're getting the sugary hit from that mandarin note, that citrus feeling of the mandarin popping, and that mint brings this herbal along with the petitgrain and gives it this very super unique sort of take. And it's happiness. When I smell this fragrance, it again takes me to a summer landscape, makes me super happy. It always takes me to Florence. And the part that is bizarre is I didn't discover it in Florence. I actually discovered it in Cannes. But I think what may have happened is that on one of the tours, and it could have been the last tour that we did, because whenever I go to the Bois store, I just spray myself silly with one particular fragrance. Two that really pop for me all the time is Classic Paradise. Every time I smell that, it makes me think of Florence. And the second one is this guy here. Whenever I smell this, it makes me think of the streets in Florence and everything else. So anyway, beautiful, bright, super happy, fun fragrance in summertime. Absolutely glorious. It actually sticks on skin really, really well. I wrote here 7 hours without a problem. It does have great push. And the fragrance, I was going to say, not necessarily that it's linear, but it is what it is. So that beautiful citrus mandarin with a bit of the herbal green, sort of petitgrain, and then it goes into the sort of like a woody aspect to it with the herbal mints. But that pretty much stays all the way throughout the fragrance. It's a celebration of those particular elements. The name really says it all. Scorzaforza means to scratch, or the strength of the skin, you know, so sort of the vibrancy of the peel essentially, and this is what they have achieved here. Boom. I wrote here that it blends beautifully so well, the herbal, the petitgrain, those two components, but the citrus, and I did this circular thing. The citrus is forever sort of surrounding that like an atom, you know. So you have these two pieces here, but that citrus is always present and always, you know, as part of that fragrance. Boom. Next one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to stop because I need a little drink of my mate, and then I'll come right back. I'm back. Funny how I could hear myself talking, and I feel like I'm being chased by zombies. I'm like trying to fire through this as quickly as possible. All right, let me move on to another one that I absolutely adore, part of the Azure collection from BDK. I have spoken before about Villa Neroli. Great fragrance if you love that vanilla. It's less citrus and a lot more on that vanilla amber aspect, whereas here I find that it is a beautiful citrus and floral combination. One thing that's quite surprising is when you, sorry, I just sprayed it before, I'll spray it again. When the fragrance opens, I get this really almost overripe orange sort of aspect to it. Think of if you've forgotten that you've got oranges somewhere and you've left them there and you come back to it, they've got that little bit of that sort of greeny sort of fur on top of it. And then there is a very overripe peel and juice sensation to the fragrance, to the actual fruit. I'm trying to find there it is. And that's what I get from this opening. That overripe orange, pulpy, sweet, with a touch of floral in the background, but pleasant. I mean, I don't know about you, that overripe orange, it doesn't have a sourness to it. If anything, it's an exaggerated on the sugars of the orange that really sort of emerge and come forward. You just know you can't eat it, but the smell of it is actually quite pleasant, or it is to me. I find that the fragrance where it begins, this is the Citrus Riviera, where the fragrance begins and where it lands in the end, two different places. So I find that it does have that very juicy, pulpy, floral, sweet, inviting, not over the top, so there's no sugary vanillas or anything of that nature, unlike Villa Neroli, where that vanilla is already beginning to come through. Then when it dries down, it goes into this wonderful floral with a watery effect with that citrus hanging around, but the citrus has really come back from where it started. You get a touch of sourness from that citrus, but the florals seem to sort of step forward a lot more. I find this fragrance incredibly complex. If I look at the notes and see all the, I'm not detecting this versus that. And actually, I don't even think I wrote the notes because I don't get all those aspects that the notes that actually are showing. What I do get, and this is my breakdown of it, very pulpy juice, orange on that opening, super inviting, a little bit on that overripe, not to the point where it's off-putting, but then as it begins to move through, it goes into these wonderful florals and then finally settles into a citrus touch with a floral aspect and a watery effect that comes through. It does make me think of like an ocean sort of landscape. And again, the name of the fragrance is Citrus Riviera. So you do get a watery sort of sensation to it. All the other aspects of the fragrance, I'm not seeing that. They're the basis of it. I was wearing it yesterday as my fragrance. It infiltrated my dreams. I woke up a few times last night. So this is a fragrance that will last you 24 hours, or let's say 12 plus hours without a problem. It's actually 24 because I sprayed it in the morning and then throughout the night I'm smelling this fragrance on me. What I kept remembering, and here's the funny part, I was dreaming about Anne-Sophie from Fleur, promise. And that's only because the night before, I have a good friend of mine, Karim, he's in Paris, and he sent me a photo of him, his wife, and Anne-Sophie. They caught up. And I think somehow that just plumped into my brain. And, there I was in the French Riviera. Anne-Sophie was somewhere in the background, obviously making a perfume. But yeah, all night long, I could smell this fragrance on me. In reading, I was looking at Fragrantica, because for me, I wrote here, it's very feminine leaning, and then looking at some of the comments, and everyone's saying it's very masculine leaning. I'm not getting that at all. Scorzaforza, 100% masculine. Humboldt, oh yeah, absolutely masculine. Whereas here, I find that the floral and the citruses and the exaggeration of the citrus at the beginning gives everything a bit of a female lean to me. So I would say this is a classic unisex. Ladies, men, this is something that anybody can wear. Great longevity, yep, mentioned that. Yeah, the last thing is that it feels, and I just wrote here, it feels like a summer breeze. So the way that the florals and the citrus is playing, it does feel like this air that's coming off the Riviera, off the ocean. There's a lightness, there's a sophistication to the fragrance. I find that this one doesn't get as much, from what I've seen, much airplay versus Villa Neroli. Villa Neroli has a lot more expression, I guess. Whereas here, I think this is a really beautiful, understated, for a summery night or a summery day, this would be gorgeous, not overt heat. And it's working beautifully in cold weather. So if you want something, locals, if you want something that's going to be sunshine inviting in a gloomy landscape, then Citrus Riviera is what I would recommend to you. Boom. Okay, Aqua Memorabilis. This next one here, this is the last one that I want to put forward to you guys. This is Jovoy. And going back to Anne-Sophie, we were during the France fragrance tour. She and Amélie were part of this experience. We had lunch, all of us together, alongside Francois. And this one here, if you can see, again, I'll keep it still so Hannah can do a close-up. This was a gift that was given to all our guests. It's for it says the France Fragrance Experience 2024. This was just launched at the time, and I love the fragrance for so many different layers. One, it reminds me of the whole time. Every time I spray it, it reminds me of being in Jovoy, being with these two incredible perfumers, Francois, the whole team, our people. The weather that day in Paris was just like magic. And the second thing too is that every time I spray this, I think of one of my sons. This is my youngest son. So everybody got a perfume, so hence we got two. Cassandra got one. I gifted one to my son. And every time I spray it, because it's a fragrance that he loves wearing, I am smelling this in the air. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm smelling him. I'm thinking of him as I spray it. I sprayed it before, and the first thing, his name is Farron, and the first thing I thought, oh, it's Faz. It's my boy. So this is an easy, I think it's an easy masculine, feminine fragrance. The core of it here is this wonderful tangerine or mandarin note. It calls it a clementine, and truthfully, I don't know my citruses that cleanly that I can say a clementine is this versus a mandarin that's that. For me, it's a very succulent, juicy, very sweet mandarin that's on that opening. It then does migrate or have all these other aspects of it. In particular, I do get a very sharp, peppery note that comes through, and I do get a very dry vetiver with a woody aspect to it. The mandarin note, or that citrus, is in the fragrance all the way through. Normally that should really, I guess, wash itself out after maybe an hour or so. But I find that citrus mandarin, quite exaggerated scent profile of it, stays within the fragrance all the way through. I find that, I don't see a lot of people talking about it. I think this is a bit of a hidden gem. It's not one that I would recommend you blind buy. All the others, they're fairly safe, even like Humboldt, which has quite an unusual personality, but it's one that it's easy to, the moment you spray, you're like, wow, this is just like, it comes alive. Whereas I find that Aqua Memorabilis has these other aspects in there that you could either go, not for me, or wow, this is like, where have you been all my life? And this is one, sorry, my brain's going, and this is one that you can comfortably wear in cool weather. So this is an all year round. In summer, it really amplifies the citrus aspects of it, but in cool weather, those woody, peppery, earthy, dry notes that are in there does really also come alive along with the citruses. Did I do a good job of that one? Okay, so I guess no, actually I did. I covered it. Cool weather, magic, 10 hours without a problem. It has great presence. In my recent video that I did with Sebastian, Sebastian Off the Cuff, so this is the video that he posted off his channel. Here's the thumbnail. He asked me, rate rate 5 Jovoys, and I'm like, well, it was really in the moment. We hadn't planned for that, but in that moment, I purposely put it behind me. That Aqua Memorabilis was one of those fragrances that I'm like, yeah, I want to show this one off. And I think I even put it in 3rd position. So it gives you an idea that this one, this fragrance here, gorgeous fragrance, I really would recommend it. I don't believe it's a blind buy, just in case some of those spicy, earthy, sort of hay-like, sort of dry hay-like notes that are in there might not appeal to you, but I think it's gorgeous. And done. Time. So there you have it. There is these 6 fragrances, all with a citrus accent, that I would strongly recommend. Obviously, the very first one, I'd just go check it out. Anything from the Italy collection from Perris, Monte Carlo. This one here, as I mentioned, I identify it because the great Luca Maffei created it, and it's just a fantastic, vibrant, summery lemon that just bursts out. If you enjoyed this review and what is Mate Talk, so for those who are new to it, Mate Talk is one continuous roll. You get to see the insanity behind this person here, and also it becomes a very real conversation. So you get to see a real moment in time as opposed to cutting things up and sort of putting B-roll and making it sort of different. You get to see everything, even the way sometimes my process of thinking. If you enjoyed this content, I'd love for you guys to subscribe. It's a great support to us at the work that we're doing here. Another great support to us is becoming a member. So to become a member, it costs this much around the world. That gives you 3 benefits. One, we always say thank you, because we just went through the number before with, actually Grace is back. Grace. Yes. Grace is back. It's good to have you back, Grace. Can I say what happened? Maybe not. Grace decided to, try something else and knew that this is where she loved best. Is that right? Yes. Actually, Grace, so if you haven't jumped across to our Olfactive Traveler Instagram, this is Grace. So this particular production that came out last week got a lot of great response. That's Grace's handiwork, so it's good to have Grace back again. Anyway, so if you're not following Olfactive Traveler, I'd love you to. It's a great support to us again in that particular, and then you can also see Grace's handiwork. Anyway, so to become a member of the channel, we say thank you. We were saying thank you just before as we were going through this. Secondly, you get a chance to join the Discord group, and then we spin the wheel. So at the end of this, I'll spin the wheel, but the Discord group, we're doing a town square meeting. So that'll happen this Friday for Northern Hemisphere, or Saturday morning for Southern Hemisphere. Here are the times across the world. I'd love you to join. We did one last time, it was a lot of fun. Even if there's 3 people, I don't care, because it gives me a chance to connect, very personal one-on-one, but obviously the more that are there, the better. If you are a member of Discord and you would like to join that, just send me a quick DM, and that way I can connect you to the Discord group and catch up with us. It'll be great. We talk about perfumes, we talk about a million things, and it's a fun get together. That's that. The last thing before I spin the wheel is this Sunday, as I mentioned, there is a Penhaligon's promo coming forward. The code is this, so NFC PenH. You'll be able to use that for the next 2 weeks from Sunday, so it'll open up on Sunday. Every bottle or every purchase that you make over $299 from Libertine. Libertine to be very gracious. Originally, it was just meant to be for a Penhaligon. Now it's across the board. So if you like the sound of Citrus Riviera or even Tic Tac Duc, or the obvious one, they actually have that in their lineup. Anything over $299, use that code NFC PenH, and you'll go into the draw to win a full bottle of either Bold Blend or, the Audacity. And you can check out this what the fragrances are about in these particular production here. So I go into a lot more detail as to how these 2 fragrances are. Yeah, very straightforward. But this Sunday, that video is coming out, so you can use that code to purchase anything from Libertine, and they do deliver internationally, just to give you a heads up. Tic Tac Duc, that's it. Now this. And back. I was just talking to Grace just before, and yeah, she just loves working here. She says I'm an unreal boss. She says that she even doesn't want to be paid. Anyway, it's good to have her back, because creatively it's a lot of fun to sort of spitball ideas. All right, so here we go. This is now the spin the wheel. I'm going to spin twice. These are for the members of the channel. As you can see, it's pretty dynamic. It's actually pretty exciting. I'm trying to get to 100. We're so close. All right, here we go. Good luck. Oof, Joe Average, you nearly had it, brother. Lewis, reach out to me, Lewis, and let me know what you like. DM me, so go to Insta, DM me there, and then tell me what you'd like. I'll put together some samples and throw together some ideas of things that you might enjoy. Second person, good luck. Audra, respect. There's a long story behind Audra. I am really grateful for her support. Let me just say that. So Audra joined us last year on the tour. She's joining us again in the South of France tour. So excited to, I'm glad that you won, put it that way. All right, that's it, bada bing. Thanks everyone, hope you enjoyed that. Any other fragrance, any other citrus fragrances that you enjoy, please put them in the comments. If you are familiar with any of these that I talked about, I'd love to hear about that from you. Otherwise, I'll see you guys all on the next episode. Bye everyone.